Let thine ear now be attentive and thine eyes open, that thou mayest hear the prayer of thy servant, which I pray thee now day and night, for the children of Israel thy servants, and confess the sins of the children of Israel, which we have sinned against thee. Both I and my father's house have sinned. We have dealt very corruptly against thee, and have not kept the commandments, nor the statutes, nor the judgment which thou commandest thy servant Moses. Remember, I beseech thee, the word that thou commandest thy servant Moses, saying, If ye transgress, I will scatter you abroad among the nations. But if ye turn unto me, and keep my commandments, and do them, there were of you cast out unto the outermost part of heaven, yet I will gather them from thence, and I will bring them unto the place that I have chosen to set my name there. So, for those people who think that, Papa God doesn't like the Jews anymore because they rejected Jesus, and, well, it's our time, us the Christians, that is replacement theology. Now, I know there are a lot of flack and a lot of hate Israel's going to, or is already getting, and they're going to even have more hate and flack because it's also biblical. Come on, guys, read the Bible here. Anyways, there are some talks about Project Israel. There are some talks on a lot of things like the US and Israel doing some secret deal. They're gonna make a new Swiss canal of some sort, or they're gonna make new energy, they're gonna make new projects, they're gonna make whatever. Okay, that's not the whole point of this. The point is, whatever you guys are thinking, especially Christians out there, you have to love God's people, and they are the Judaim, the original Jews. They might be mixed in with the population of the modern Jews because there are some semi-practicing Jews and non-practicing Jews. Okay, let's admit that. It's like in Christianity, there are non-practicing Christians and you have people like me. I'm Christian. I practice the faith of Christians, but I don't go to a church. Therefore, I don't really like to practice traditions of the church. I don't go to Catholic Mass anymore, although I'll go one if there's like a, what's this, wedding, celebration of some sort, baptism, things like that, special occasions. I still respect my friends and family. If they invite me and they would like me to be there, I will be there. I even go to okay, they don't like to be called Protestant, evangelical, Baptist, Pentecostal, and other denomination. I also go there if I am invited. There's special occasions, things like that. But if you say, oh, do you do like this? Not anymore. I'm not, it's not like I'm at war with pastors. It's just that I feel like whatever they're teaching, it just needs a little bit more. Okay, a lot more. And I confronted a couple of pastors, but why aren't you like teaching more? Or didn't you go to seminary school? There's Hebrew class there. This is deeper than what you traditionally teach because I've already memorized most of your sermons. They come from a book and tradition. And so, they still hold the same beliefs. And a lot of evangelical Baptists and other denomination, they actually hold to Catholic traditions. I don't know if it's just here in the Philippines or in other countries as well. Those don't have biblical basis. I just found that out. I didn't even know. And then I found out, it's like, okay, there's no biblical basis for that. What are we doing? If I am going to be very, I try my best to really follow the Bible, because when there's nothing else, when you don't know what else to follow, go straight to the source. I mean, I do pray, but let's face it, I'm not a prophet. I don't know how to interpret my dreams. Even if God gave me a dream, I don't know how to interpret it. And sometimes, of course, because of the course of your day, you kind of forgot what was that again. Yeah. So, where do I find my answers? Gee, go straight to the book. The book. I know there's lots of mistranslation, and that's why I'm doing heavy research. And I know not a lot of people have the capacity, willpower, emotional energy to do this kind of research, to really dive deep, listen to other podcasts on how they're interpreting this particular word, this particular scripture. You even have to like go into, oh, what does Sumerian tablets have anything to do with this? Because they do have something to do with it. They are of, let's say, if you're reading like Abrahamic times, Genesis, there would be some reflected there. And then it just gives you like a context, of course, of what people of that time were thinking. Because remember, the people of the Bible, they are writing to us, but they're not writing the book with us in mind when they were writing it. So the way they describe it is how they could describe as best as I can, or they can, at that time period, like Ezekiel's wheel and things like that. Now people are thinking, maybe it's modern technology, UFO, flying saucer, things like that, the wheels upon wheels and things like that. They are trying their best to describe something that there is no earthly basis. So can you imagine that? But now us with how many thousand years history, we can more or less describe more than they can. And sometimes even we, when we see something first time, we see something strange, even we cannot interpret it or put into, or we cannot articulate it in such a way for us to explain it to other people. So I get it. I get it. So this deep dive into the Bible is really me personally, because I try my best to teach what I can, when I can, and when someone asks. Sometimes, of course, I like to volunteer information. If they get it, I go further. If they don't, I'll leave it at that. But it's going to be a personal choice for you guys to accept it or not, because it is something, let's just say, a lot of people still cannot accept. Like the Elohim pluralness, the triune, the what's this things revealed in Revelations, and a lot of other things. So it is heavily subjective to interpretation. I get that. Some interpretations of Bible scholars make sense to me and some don't, especially when they conflict with each other. I really have to listen to both sides, read the scripture again and again, and pray to God that how I personally interpret it would be true to me, true to myself, because we all have different interpretation, because it's not in our tongue. It's in Hebrew. Worse, it's in Old Hebrew. And what we're reading right now is actually modern Hebrew, which is Aramaic based. So it's a little different. It might be nearest, but it's not the most accurate. So there are still things lost to time that you really have to look at things between the lines. And there's a lot of between the lines there, because we don't know the idiomatic expressions of that time. Not all of it have survived today. So that is it, and I hope you guys enjoy that reading of Nehemiah, because Nehemiah was the guy who rebuilt the temple and the walls of Jerusalem, and that's the one that, well, Jesus saw in his day, and of course at 70 AD all of those got wiped away. And we won't see that until the New Jerusalem descends. So if you want to know more, hint hint, read the book. It's a bestseller.